Dudes! The Cool Schools program has finally agreed to pay me more money, so I'm back to tell you how to build your very own time machine. Now, I'm no expert on how to manipulate space-time itself, so I'm going to be using the network-provided time machine to travel back in time and interview some of the great minds that have helped build time machines over the centuries. This should be fun, dudes! Out the way! Time travel! Yeah! Okay, so we had a little trouble with the time machine, but I'll struggle through anyway. So, first off, I'm going to be talking to someone even I've heard of, Sir Isaac Newton.
Hello, Dilbert.
So, dude, I've been told you didn't really do anything to help the time machine.
No, Dilbert. In fact, I did bugger all to do with the time machine, although I did discover gravity.
Well, now I'm going to be talking to someone a little cooler than that last guy I talked to. A guy known to his friends as Uncle Albert.
That's Mr. Einstein, thank you.
Whatever. Dude, what happened to your tash?
I cut myself while shaving. I didn't think anybody would notice.
You're right, there was.
No.
So anyway, how can you help me build my time machine?
Well, it all started with my theory of general relativity, which of course you've heard. Well, my theory states that gravity is not in fact a linear force. It is a combination of space-time being bent.
So, how does that help me build my time machine?
Okay, let us assume that two twins are born at exactly the same moment on Earth. If one of them is put into a spaceship and flown around the Earth at 99% the speed of light for 3 years, when they return, they will have aged only those 3 years, whereas the child on Earth will have aged 20 years.
Radical! So it's like the space twins got into the future.
Yes, Dilbert.
Well, thanks, dude.
Wait, Dilbert! You don't know all the implications!
Well, I've just been told about these things called black holes, and they're real dense in gravity. So much that even light can't get out of them. So here to tell me some more about this is this guy, John Wheeler.
Hey, Dilbert.
Hey, John. So how did you help invent the time machine?
Well, I invented the black hole.
Whoa, you invented it?
Well, I made the name anyway.
Huh. Well, how did you do that?
Well, I tried to be clever by combining two different names for the same phenomenon, black and hole, to make black hole.
However did you think of that?
Well, you see, it's black because light can't get out, and it's a hole because it sucks stuff in. Black hole.
I'm clearly stood next to a mastermind of our time. Okay, so now to properly explain what black holes are and how to build this freaking time machine is my old pal, Mr. Square.
Hello again, Dilbert. Having been sacked by the Steely Steel Corporation, I have now taken up my new position as Administrations Officer of the fantastic Physics Factory of Fun with Bar and Grill. Now, we'll start with black holes. Now, it's formed when a supermassive star runs out of hydrogen and fuel, and it eventually goes supernova. Then the remaining core contracts under its own gravity and begins to collapse. This then forms a single dot, a speck, a singularity. This in itself warps.
Moving on. What I really want to know is how to build my time machine. Can your factory do that?
It is theoretically possible to create a wormhole time machine. In the collider, we inject a colossal amount of energy into a vacuum containing virtual particles in space-time foam. In this foam, there are miniature wormholes, and with the energy we put in, it enables one of them to become permanent in the form of a quark gluon plasma bubble.
Oh, right, that sounds easy enough. What's next?
Now the imploder. The quark-gluon bubble that we have now just spontaneously created must now be compressed by a factor of 1 billion billion in a process known as the Z-pinch. In this process, it is then introduced to a huge current which is passed through deuterium gas, ionizing it. This pinches the quark-gluon bubble and causes it to implode. The result of this is either a black hole or a miniature wormhole.
What I miss?
The next step is the inflator. Clearly, our black hole is not yet big enough to traverse, and any matter we introduce will cause it to collapse in on itself. Therefore, we need to add some exotic matter with anti-gravitational properties. When this is introduced to the throat of the wormhole, it causes it to expand. An example of this is negative energy, a subject which I am not sufficiently erudite to inform you about.
Please, this is truly fascinating. What's next on our journey of education?
Well, Dilbert, the next stage is the differentiator, possibly the most exciting part of the whole process, in which our wormhole, we have been nourishing since it was only small, it will now be turned into a fully fledged time machine. The simplest way to do this would be to accelerate one end in a particle accelerator up to nearly the speed of light for, let's say, 10 years, whilst keeping the other end perfectly still. This would create a time-lapse of 10 years between both mouths, as the moving one would have aged negligibly, whereas the stationary one would have aged 10 years. And thus, the distance between both mouths would be relatively short. Has this been a practical assistance to you, Dilbert?
Okay, so I'm still having trouble with this whole negative energy thing and how we get it. So I've been told to go and talk to this guy, Hendrik Casimir. He seems to know quite a lot about it.
Good morning. You're having a lot of trouble with negative energy.
Just a little, too.
Well, you see, you've got all this normal matter in the world, and negative energy is just the opposite.
Well, how do you get hold of it?
Well, it's actually surprisingly easy to get a hold of. You see, you can get two metal bodies and hold them above each other in a closed system at almost absolute zero, and you'll get small amounts of negative energy forming in the middle. The same if you push against a mirror, then you'll get a small amount on the surface.
Awesome! Finally, something I can do!
Yeah. But both these methods, of course, produce very small amounts of energy. So you've got to go and talk to Stephen Hawking if you want to know more about this, to be honest.
Fine. I'll go and do that. Okay, so finally I'm going to have to talk to this guy, Stephen Hawking. Are you him?
Yes. Hello, Dilbert.
Okay, so look dude, my head is going to blow, so please for the love of God, keep it simple.
Affirmative. I was ecstatic upon discovering that I was correct in my assumptions that negative energy could be accumulated in massive quantities in the region surrounding a black hole.
I don't know what he's talking about.
As positive energy must be engulfed by a black hole, I envisioned negative energy being radiated from a black hole as it flowed into it.